Hi everyone, welcome back to Trevor Golliger Drums. Today, obviously you can see there's no drums around me. We're not actually going to play any drums today. We're going to talk a little bit about drumming, and we're going to look at really what's the difference from playing a live gig and actually playing drums on a recording session. There are lots of differences between the two. When it comes to recording songs, there's a lot of factors that come into play. One, what type of song is it? That will often determine what drums or cymbals you will actually use. It will actually even come down to, how you tune that drum kit. If you use muffling, if you have it wide open, if your snare's tuned really low and flabby, or if it's tuned really high and crisp and dry. There's so many factors involved that are really all determined from what the actual song is, what the songwriter or the producer is trying to achieve on that song. So when I go to recording sessions, well, I have a little studio myself at home. It's a home studio. It records really well. I've got a lot of really good high-end gear in it, so it's not your average little home studio. It actually is very high-end. But anyway, besides from my studio, if I get called to go to a recording studio to play on someone's songs, I often will take 3, 4, 5 snare drums with me and a big selection of cymbals. And I often also too, when I get asked to play on a session, first question I ask is, what style of music is it? And what type of song are we recording? And then that helps me to choose, the snare drums that I take and the cymbals that I take. I always take a selection because, once again, the producer of that song or the songwriter may have a very clear idea what they want the drums to sound like. And if I've got a selection of snares with me, wood ones, metal ones, shallow, deep, all different tunings. I mean, I can tune them on the day as well while I'm there. If we find a snare drum that actually has that sound they want, let's say a brass snare drum, they want that warm metallic brass tone, then great. We'll pick a brass snare drum and we'll tune it up and down to get the actual sound they want off that brass snare drum. So that's why I take multiple snare drums. It's not this because, hey, look at me, I've got lots of snare drums. It's actually to do my best to give that person that's employing me to play drums on their track, to do my best to give exactly what they want, tonally speaking and sonically speaking. So, and the same with cymbals. I often will take 2 or 3 ride cymbals. I will take a selection, often of crash cymbals, few little splashes. Sometimes I'll even take 2 or 3 sets of hi-hats with me, depending on what we're doing. And so when it actually comes to playing in the studio, as opposed to live playing, I find studio playing, you have to be a lot more precise. You have to be really focused on just nailing it, getting it note perfect and tonally perfect, where I hit a drum, where I hit a cymbal, to really try and accurately give the sound palette that they require for that song. So my approach when I'm playing in a studio is for me to be very accurate and to also, do my best to make the sounds that they require. Now, when I'm playing live, that's different. I don't have the luxury. I don't go to a gig and set up 4 snare drums and have, 5 rides and 20 crash cymbals as options. I just take a basic cymbal set of, depending on the style of music I'm playing. I did a little short video just the other day on a cymbal setup that I often use when I play with a higher volume, like rock blues or rock or, punkabilly type music. When I'm playing something a bit more loud, obnoxious and brash, I tend to use a lot of bigger cymbals. I often will use a 22 or 24 inch ride. I often will use 15 or 17 inch hi-hats and, a couple of big crashes, maybe a 20. And I often will have like a small, very thin crash, like a paper thin 16, and I use it like a giant splash cymbal or an accent cymbal from rim shotting and crashing. I often will use a little, 16, really thin one so it explodes, So when I play live, I look at the gig that I'm doing. If I'm playing a jazz gig, obviously I'm not taking those cymbals. I'm taking something a little bit more tame, a little bit more jazz sounding, for want of a better word. And so when I play live too, I'm more listening to the musicians around me and just trying to sit myself in that sound of all those musicians. I try and play at the volume that's blending with those musicians. And, I'm not so focused on being 100% accurate, but I'm more focused on sitting in the groove and, listening to the musicians around me. That doesn't mean I don't play, do my best to play 100% accurate. And that doesn't mean that I don't play with power. I'm probably going to do a video soon, because there seems to be a lot of confusion between someone that's playing drums with power and someone playing with volume. I believe there's a big difference between power and volume. You can play powerfully at a lower volume, and also sometimes it gets misinterpreted by other musicians. If I'm playing with power, they think I'm being loud, but I'm not. I'm playing with power. But anyway, I'm thinking of doing a video on that topic a little bit later down the track. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for that maybe. So, the two big differences between studio playing and live playing is, to put it in a nutshell here, studio playing, it's all about getting the right sound palette, using different snare drums and cymbals, and being 100% accurate with what you're doing. Because, if you keep making mistakes, it's got to be re-recorded, and it's, that's time is money, as they say in the studio. So it's really important to be accurate, but it's also very important to, don't let your ego get in mind and say, I want to use this killer snare drum. Well, that snare drum mightn't be suitable for the sonics of the song that you're recording. So again, as I said, I bring multiples of cymbals and snares to do my best to get it sonically accurate and then be really precise in how I play. Live, I choose a set of cymbals to take to a gig depending on the style of music I'm playing. And my main focus with that is sitting in the groove and listening to the musicians around me, sitting at the volume that I think is required, so I'm not drowning anyone out, and also, do my best to sit in pocket. How I often tune my drum kits live is really open with no dampening whatsoever. So on stage, that drum kit sounds really loud, and often I get musicians say, oh, you're really loud. But it sounds like it on stage. But when you get off the stage, it's actually often even quieter than the rest of the band. So I've got used to hearing the difference. And so over the years, many years of playing. So I tend to, as I said, I tune fully open, generally speaking. And I do my best to match the volume of the band or band members around me. And so that's really the two differences between live playing and studio recording. So I hope this has been helpful, and I appreciate your experience of both live and studio recording. And if you've got a topic you would like me to also to look at later down the track, well, please do send me those comments below, and tell me what you would like me to talk about or discuss in future videos. Anyway, on that note, people, you have a really good day and enjoy playing drums. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That will make this really old drummer really happy if you do so. And keep drumming, stay happy, be kind to people, and I'll check you out next video. Bye!